watching Canadian Muslim news on Muslim Network TV. From Toronto, Ontario, I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace. Today we'll be talking to Imam Tarek from the Brantford Mosque in Ontario about a lost history of Muslims from before World War I. First, some news headlines. Judge denies Major General Fortin's appeal to return to the military. Alberta to use vaccine passport system in the new year. A new show in the works for creator of Little Mosque on the Prairie. Afghan family on their way to Canada after months of hiding. And Moqtada Sadr wins Iraqi election with former Prime Minister Maliki close behind. And now the details. In a 20-page decision made on Tuesday, an Ottawa judge has denied Major General Danny Fortin's plea to reverse the firing decision made early last month. Fortin was previously the head of Canada's COVID-19 vaccine rollout plan until he was fired following allegations of sexual assault. Fortin denies any act of sexual misconduct, with his court case set to resume on November 5th. Until then, Fortin is to file for a grievance before making any move to head back to the military. On Tuesday, the Department of National Defence announced that they were reviewing the decision and released no other comments. Premier Jason Kenney announced on Tuesday that Albertans will start using the AB COVID Records Verifier app in the new year. Once the app is downloaded, users can enter their health card number and receive a scannable QR code, which will be shown as proof of vaccination to enter public buildings. Alberta's vaccine-proof system comes later than the other provinces. With the exception of the Northwest Territories, all provinces currently require some form of proof of vaccination. This announcement comes as Alberta reaches a plateau in their COVID case counts. As of Monday, there were over 15,000 active cases of COVID. About 85% of Albertans have had at least one dose of the vaccine. This is in part due to the program announced by the government to receive a $100 debit card after getting a vaccine dose. That program is set to end on Thursday. Zakir Nawaz is working on a new show following her previous hit production in 2007, Little Mosque on the Prairie. The show is named Zakir, although Nawaz states it's a comedy and not autobiographical. Released by the CBC, Nawaz tells the story of a divorced Muslim woman who discovers her ex-husband is getting married to a white woman. For her date to the wedding, Zakir registers on the dating website and meets Brian. Nawaz scripted this comedic tale in part to expand the stage presence and representation of Muslims in the media. She wants to move away from the issues of terrorism and race and instead tackle themes more common in Western entertainment, one of which is divorce. After the success of Corner Gas and Little Mosque, Nawaz and her production team are excited to bring Zakir to Canadian screens. The show is set to release in 2022. Reza Kateb and his family have stayed in hiding for months following the Taliban's takeover of Kabul in August. Kateb worked with the Canadian Embassy on gender equality policies and helped plan the elections. After the Taliban took over, Kateb was forced to flee due to his involvement with the Canadian government. Kateb, his wife, and 3 children narrowly avoided the explosion in the airport and crossed the border into Pakistan. They now wait for a flight to Canada. Kateb is excited for his future in Canada. He wishes to work and pursue a PhD from a Canadian university and live a peaceful life for him and his family. There are 1,700 people currently in Afghan safe houses who await their flight to Canada. Moqtada Sadr came through as the winner of the recent Iraqi election with 73 seats. Former Prime Minister Maliki's coalition placed third with around 30 seats. According to the results gathered by the AFP, the Fatah alliance dropped to about a dozen seats, a sharp decline compared to their original 48. While pro-Iranian groups regard the election as a scam, the head of the EU observer mission, Viola von Kramon, commented that there was nothing technically wrong with the majority of polling stations observed. In a victory speech broadcast on TV, Sadr preached for a nationalist government void of foreign interference in Iraq's internal affairs. The election was held several months earlier than its initially proposed date, as mass protests in 2019 expressed the public's anger with the government and its leaders. However, this year's election had a low record turnout of 41%. Many Iraqis did not vote, especially the youth who had spearheaded the 2019 protests. They believed that their vote would do little to change the ongoing path of politics in Iraq. Sadr is a dominant figure in Iraqi politics. He has criticized both Iran and the United States' involvement in Iraq. This includes the 2,500 US soldiers currently stationed in Iraq to fight the Islamic State. That's it for the news. And now our interview with Imam Tarek, the Imam of Brantford Mosque, about early Muslim history in Brantford. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Tarek, and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Kathy, it's good to be here.
Thanks very much for being with us. Now it's Islamic History Month, and you are the Imam of the Brantford Mosque, and I believe that Brantford has a very special story of Canadian Muslim history. So can you tell us about the Muslim history of Brantford?
Yes, Jazakallah khair for taking interest in learning about Brantford Muslim history. This history is not known much, so we claim now the Brantford is one of the earliest Muslim communities in Canada. And everything started around 2013. One of the local researchers, he started to research, make a historical video on Brantford, studying small old clips of the newspaper clips from the microfilm available in the library. And he suddenly discovered something that led us to today's discussion.
So what did he discover? What was it that he discovered?
So what he discovered, that there is a cemetery, and one of the oldest cemetery, known as Mount Hope Cemetery. In it, at the northern corner of that cemetery, there is a lot specifically dedicated for Muslims. And he came to know about this from local newspaper clipping dated back to 1912, which showed that the first Mohammedan funeral in the city.
So you said that this was something that he only discovered in 2013. How is it possible that people in Brantford didn't know this history already?
So he wrote an article after discovery, and it's a long journey. And as we speak, we'll talk more about it. Mainly, what we understood from this, that the Muslim came to Brantford before World War I from Turkey, along with some Armenians as a foreign workers. And because of the First World War, and then Canada actually canceled the all European contract, including with the Turkey, and eventually the history related to this early Muslims in Brantford and early Armenians as well has been removed. So because of no discussion, and the information was mostly destroyed, that's why for a long time nobody talked about it and nobody knew about it, even though it was available in the earliest newspaper.
So I understand that Brantford has a very special place in Canadian history, not just Canadian Muslim history. What's the special famous person connected to Brantford?
There are a number of national and international figures in Brantford. Brantford is known as Telephone City. So all of we know Alexander Graham Bell. He actually migrated to Brantford. His father migrated to Brantford. His father bought home. It's just 2 minutes away from my home where I'm speaking now, 2 minutes away from our mosque, and about 5 minutes away from this cemetery. So the Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone, and he is known for it. And in addition to Alexander Graham Bell, also as in modern Canada, we do know the Brantford is known for Wayne Gretzky, a national hockey player, and his father, Walter Gretzky. And so Brantford is known for many good things, yes.
So is there any evidence that Alexander Graham Bell interacted with Muslims in Brantford in the 1870s?
No. So we don't have that evidence that Muslim or Alexander Graham Bell communicated with the Muslims. What we do know about these Muslims is it started 1895, according to this researcher known as Bill Dorfler. And he's a white person, and he is a researcher. He's a Christian. He's not Muslim, but his research led to find out the evidence that one of Brantford's businessmen traveled to Istanbul in 1895 to sell his plows that used to produce here. And then over there, he met with some refugees and some foreign workers, and he invited them to come here. So by late 1900 or early 20th, what happened, a good number of Armenians, he claims that about 400 Armenians, along with them about 100 Muslims came to Brantford as foreign workers. And so that was it began.
And does that imply, you mentioned that World War I and there's this lost history that's being rediscovered in 2013. Does that imply that the Muslims who were there at that time didn't marry and settle and have descendants who've stayed in Brantford?
That part we do not know. So this is, I wonder, because there's a lot we are talking about. Every year I visit since it was discovered. So what happened, there are 16 graves, and their name has been discovered from the city directory and funeral information the center. And now in 2015, Mayor of Brantford, Chris Frill, and also Consulate General of Turkey, they came together and we put a plaque where all 16 people's name are there. Now, after this plaque was put, if you look at the name of these the individuals who are lying their resting place there, we don't see any women named there. We don't see any children names there.
I see.
So Bill,
go ahead.
Bill claimed that their family joined them later. At the beginning, they came as just only men, as the foreign workers, but their family joined them later. But as of now, we do not have clear evidence that what happened to them and where they're about, and if they came where they are now. So we don't have any clear evidence from any sources.
I know that in World War I, Muslims in Canada were known as Turks, and they were declared enemy aliens and rounded up into internment camps. So I suppose that a lot of those people there might have been rounded up like that. I've seen a call in an article that was written about this saying that justice hasn't been given to this community and any of their descendants. Do you have anything to comment about that?
That's true. So there are three parts. The first part is when they got the opportunity, this early Muslim got the opportunity, they came to Brantford and they helped Brantford to become one of the largest industrial city in Canada. At that time, Brantford was the third industrial city after Toronto and Montreal. So they contributed to the community a lot. That's the first part. But then 1914 came, the First World War. And because of that, the all contract has been cancelled with the Turkey. And then local Turkish Muslims, they were actually arrested by the Brantford police. And they were put in Brantford armories. From there, they were shipped from Brantford to Kingston. They were put in jail there. And from there, they were again shipped from there to the Kapuskasing, a city in between Sault Ste. Marie and James Bay, in a bush where they're supposed to make their camp there. So, and then some of them, historian says, might came back to Brantford. Because of that, we see in this lot, the first funeral first funeral took place 1912, and the last one is 1963.
So whoever wants to look into that's really going to have to do some very serious digging through the archives, it sounds like.
True. So the last part, when they're saying last part, Bill claimed that nobody knows what happened to their families and what happened to the rest of the Turkish Muslim beside the 16. So from that, Bill and many other historians, including myself, we believe that justice has been denied to them in many ways. And one of them is not letting Canadians know and their family members know what happened to these early Muslims of Brantford.
Where they are. So just as we wrap up, this having this knowledge of such a long history in Brantford, does it change the Brantford Mosque community that you're the imam of, their sense of belonging to the city? How has it been received?
Brantford, the Muslim history in Brantford has two phases at least. One is starting from early 1900 to 1963, which we mentioned, and then from the same decade, from 1968, Muslim Association of Brantford has been established, and since then, this is one of the unique community who, from the day one, has been contributed to the mainstream community and worked closely with the mainstream community. So this discovery did not change the perception of anything for two reasons. Number one, majority of people, including our mayor, our MP, last year mayor told me I did not know about it. This year, new elected MP, he said I did not know about it. So this is one of the problems that people do not know about this history. So thank you so much for giving us opportunity to bring this history to the light. The second reason is it's not much change because we are more focused on community building than talking about history. So in relationship, there is no change, but more which demand justice and which I think we should demand. I don't know how this relationship, which turn it takes. We don't know. We need to see. But I think is due.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show and telling us about that. And perhaps there'll be other things we can follow up in the coming months if there's any more information to share. So thank you very much for coming on the show and telling us about this unknown history.
Thank you so much. And I will request your viewers to make these early Muslims in your dua and raise their voice to demand justice for these early Muslims so we can get to know what happened to them and where are their family members. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Okay, so that's it from us. That's an appeal for a dua for justice for the Muslims who were in Brantford before the World War and we don't know what happened to them. You can make that dua and that request, and we end it there. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Stay safe and God bless.